The Nigerian Labour Congress has said that it's going ahead with a 2-day warning strike beginning tomorrow, saying it was not aware of any meeting with the federal government today, adding that the industrial action was instigated by state councils and industrial unions. However, the Minister of Information and Orientation, Mohammed Idris Megidi, said the federal government is in discussion with Labour over the planned strike, saying that the Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Lalong, met with leadership of the NLC on Saturday, adding that the federal government was very hopeful that the strike may be averted. The minister said the government will continue to appeal to organized labour to see the reason and the effort of the government in providing palliative through state governors and the conditional cash transfer program, while appealing to organized labour to collaborate with the government to ensure that all efforts put in place to reposition the economy and turn things around for good yield the desired result. The minister said that the federal government will continue to engage with labour to avoid the planned strike for tomorrow. But the NLC said its decision to embark on the 2-day warning strike was informed by pressure from unions and state chapters over the excruciating suffering that their members are facing as a result of the removal of fuel subsidy. Recall that while briefing on Thursday after his NEC meeting, NLC President Joe Ajero, among others, said NEC in section of the NLC resolved to embark on a total and indefinite shutdown of the nation within 14 days or 21 days from Friday until steps are taken by the government to address the major mass suffering and the impoverishment experienced around the country. And also said the NLC will commence a 2-day warning strike on Tuesday and Wednesday, the 5th and 6th of September 2023, to demonstrate their readiness for an indefinite strike later in the month. But the big question or the big story for today is, will the planned strike action not go the way of others when at the eve it is aborted? And what are even the likely gains if it is seen through? Well, these and more as concerns the planned strike action of organized labor is what this edition of the big story is all about. And that is subsidy removal, NSC again on the part of strike action. That's what we're having as a major discourse today on the big story. We're talking about that planned action strike or industrial action by the Nigerian Labour Congress that will definitely commence tomorrow across the country and will extend till on Wednesday. And if nothing is being done, maybe a fortnight from today, definitely an indefinite industrial action will totally commence. But anyway, let's commence the discussion. And definitely we'll have a guest in the house right here. And I'm talking of no other person but a member for the Committee of Good Governance and the Enthronement of Democracy in Nigeria. I'm talking about no other person but Mr. Emeka, or Comrade Emeka Owokucha. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Mike. Thank you for having me
at this important time.
Well, indeed, an important time, and one that seems to be staring us in the face, especially as it concerns the planned strike action of organized labor come tomorrow. Now, Sam, since the removal of the subsidy, this will be the third time the NLC is planning to embark on an industrial action, undermining it did once, but it did not last for long. But according to our own findings, because when we heard they were going on the strike, we went deep to understand what the grievances are and what necessitated the strike action. And with our own findings, one of the different reasons is that the state council, I'm talking about the different state council of the Nigerian Labour Congress, and not just the state council, but also industrial unions are the one pressuring neck of the NLC to embark on this strike. We even learned that some even state councils, especially from the northern part of the country, are becoming vulnerable to attacks by angry citizens who question the rationale behind NLC inaction in the midst of the mass suffering prevailing in the land. We even learned that one of the NLC bosses was attacked recently by angry residents. Now, my question is it that the NLC is now being compelled to embark on this strike action by the people on account of this? And is the action going to go through or not aborted at the very last minute, according to you? What do you feel?
Mr. Mike.
2 quick questions.
Yes. The northern flank
of the NLC.
Of the NLC, you know, their temperament says that they are no longer comfortable because it appears the citizens are no longer comfortable and there could be a riot. We had seen that happen in Adamawa.
Yes.
Yeah, in June here,
Yes.
where the citizens, invaded NEMA warehouses and carted away, sacks of grains of rice, pastas and other. And not only that, went as far as even invading private, individual warehouses. And what does that tell you? To do what? To cut away food. We had never gotten it so bad. There has never been in the history of this country we had a thing like that happening. So that tells you that the people can't really take it any longer. So the call for strike from the state's flanks, it's a needful action. And Joe Ajaero has no alternative. And let me still tell you, the headship of these unions, going by their status, ordinarily are comfortable. Mike, we are human beings. That is the reason why the TUC are not telling you that they may not obey, the strike action, the 2-day strike action, the NSA has called. The TUC is the senior staff cadre of the union. And when you say senior staff, what are you talking about? You can imagine senior staff. That means they are within the hierarchy.
Are you saying they are totally disconnected?
Yeah, not
with
even.
those?
The question about it is that the average Nigerian, when you are comfortable in your small cocoon, you don't care about your brother. You don't care about their livelihood. That is the line TUC is tailoring. Because that tells you that within their own, they feel comfortable. They are saying that they still want to continue on dialogue. What are you dialoguing? I will tell the Nigerian government that they have had a very resilient citizens over the years. That our foreign refineries had not been working over the years. It's enough for citizens to block governance and call them to order. There have been a lot of, signs of, governance incompetency in the running of government, and the citizens have been taking all, enduring all. So the Nigerian state, you cannot say that this country is vulnerable to strike or protest. No. But this has come a time where the people would have to assert themselves and decide where we should go, because NLC is the only platform, is the only vehicle now remaining through which the people can be galvanized and call the state to order and demand what is due them. Apart from that, I will tell you, Mike, there's no other structure. So I think this one remaining should not be made to still go under. It should.
But we do know with what the minister said on Saturday, there's even likelihood that the federal government and Labour might definitely be meeting today. Undermining the Nigerian Labour Congress has come out to refute or debunk that very planned meeting. But that brings me to the question. So you are saying that the people are the one compelling the leadership of the NLC to embark on this strike. And are we going to have it aborted at the last minute, knowing that now the people are so entrenched with this very purported strike action? And if Labour decide to abort it, it might really be a big one for them, especially as the people will definitely be against that action.
I think Ajaero-led Nigerian Labour Congress has had, cases where its integrity seems to be in doubt, because we had a situation where
by the people.
Because we had a situation where he would get to nearing the point of organizing the strike. Before you know it, he abandoned that call and it becomes another thing entirely. And this is becoming recurring. So at this third stage now,
yes,
good, warning strike 2 days, which is not too much.
Okay.
It is expected that Labour must stand firm and begin to hold the leadership at the jugular. Because this that is happening now, you cannot see the leadership angle, how they are now fastening their belts, how they are now quickling, whatever policy they think they want to roll out. If all these actions are not there, automatically just as they have believed that the Nigerian man is docile, because within the leadership cadre, they believe that the ordinary Nigerian man is so docile that there is no point at which he would demand for his right. So this is the time for Labour to keep the fire burning, to hold on strongly to that vision and mission.
So do you see the strike?
If the strike will
do
hold,
you see the strike holding?
The strike will hold, but if at the end of the day, Ajaero, backed out automatically, he would have messed up his integrity. Whatever he says in the coming days may not be regarded by Nigerians as anything to go home with. So this 2-day strike for me is meant to hold, and I have seen the mobilizations across the state, though some few black legs within the states are saying they might not join. But however, could tell you that 80% of the states are ready for the strike and not minding the impact it will bring upon us, the Tarakawa. We don't mind. It's all about sacrifice, because the sacrifice must be done for us to begin.
Okay, now talking about
to monitor the government and get them do the right thing.
Yeah, Comrade Emeka and Wokocha. Now talking about it, apart from them being compelled, we also learned that another factor that also pushed the Labour to declare the strike is the neck of the NLC made up of all elected national members, like you said. We're talking about senior secretariat staff, presidents of secretaries and treasurers of the different industrial union, as well as chairmen, secretaries and treasurers of state council, were said to have almost become uncontrollable after their members learned that none of the committees, including the main committee set up by the NLC itself, according to our findings, have been able to have any serious meeting with the federal government as it concerns palliative or issues or measures to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. We've even learned that the 3 subcommittees, that of mass transit, energy, and compressed natural gas, were said to have not have any meeting with the federal government, while the federal government is also, with state government, busy rolling out palliative. And the biggest issue here of organized labor is that they were often carried along with this recent disbursement of palliative by the federal and state government. And they feel aggrieved because they feel basically they were the ones that necessitated such palliative to be done. So in my own view, is this enough for them to now call on a strike, that they were not carried along with this recent palliative given by the federal and state government?
That is one among the many reasons.
That's one of many, but one of the strong reasons.
One among the many reasons. Because
so is there enough for them to embark on
it's even more than enough. Because I had over time come here and in order of my engagements in other fora,
yes,
to making us understand that the palliative the government is bringing before Nigerians, for me it is a mockery, because it is a one-off thing. Because the president, the design and the way it is to be implemented tells you that it is a one-off thing. And the problem of this country as regards the suffering the people are going through following the sudden removal of soil subsidy is not a one-off thing. It is continual. So if the government is actually ready, to abate suffering, actually ready to vacate poverty from the land, these policies, ought to be well grounded. We have seen countries that were
grounded in a sense of continuation,
or what? Continuation,
okay, backed
by law. It becomes a national policy, just as the president made in his July broadcast, that the suffering and poverty, or rather he declared emergency in the food security sector. If that demands that, we expect the government to roll out executive bills. Why would Nigerians not have the opportunity to be benefiting from what is called social security package at this point in time? And let me tell you, it's not as if this is the first time in the globe where a country will be in this kind of mess.
Okay.
India had been on it.
On this road.
China had been on it. And now let me tell you, in that of India and China, which when China was able to pull 850 million Chinese out of poverty within 20 years. That wonderful action achievement was likened, to they liken it to a kind of a miracle, a modern day miracle, as in how was China be able to do that? It is all about commitment. Then even when you talk about India, within 20 years, India was able to pull 273 million Indians out of poverty. Then the question you are asking, in the case of India, that policy ran on four-legged instruments. They call it, rural livelihood mission. On that particular project, do you know what it means? It gave access to Indian citizens, to access loans. And these loans comes with a very minimal interest so that they could start small and medium-scale businesses to boost their livelihood. Again, they still have what's called Mahatma Gandhi, employment guarantee scheme. Do you know what that means? These things were guided by law, not one-off. It rose over time. That means that every poor rural Indian, was guaranteed opportunity, to wage employment at a minimum of 150 days. So in other words, you are sure that within a year, you could work for 200 days or thereabout. That is sure, and it is certain. And again, they didn't stop there. They went as far as saying that there must be compulsory housing project where by 2022 it was estimated that every Indian would have permanent housing. And this permanent housing is unlike the ones we have here. The permanent housing will have liquefied petroleum gas networks. The permanent housing will have pipe-borne water. The permanent housing will have electricity, and it will have toilet facilities and everything that will make the resident comfortable. It didn't even stop there. It tells you it went further. When the country was hit by food crisis, it went further by saying public distribution system, just as in the palliative thing
like
you're talking about. How did it function? Government ensures that packages of food will be delivered to the rural poor on a continuous basis to address shortage of this commodity for God's sake.
So you feel that's
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is how a government that feels, a government that has a pathway to vacating the people from the E-road runs this affair. It is not on this one-off thing. You are talking about the pressure the people have been put in. The crisis the removal of subsidy has caused, in addition to the comatose economy we had been over the years, because this is more or less as adding fuel into a burning fire. Now you are coming to telling Nigerians that the solution they have is one-off, and which will not even go around. How much in the palliatives? I saw Delta State government now commencing distribution. I saw bags of rice in heaps, pockets of heaps. I was not imagining a state of about 5 million. And within that 5 million, I could tell you that 80 million of debtors are living below poverty line. I wonder how much that grain I have seen would cure, cushion, address this endemic poverty. So if you look at it, it appears that the government, is dry of ideas. So that is our pain, that this thing is to be given a human face. When we see a government that is ready.
I'll play with you to hold on now.
Yes.
Now, you've said it, and you feel it should not be a one-off thing.
It
should be a continuous thing, and that's where you
feel
a one-off
what?
The government missed it. But that still brings me to my question. Should Labour be the one aggrieved that they were not carried along, looking or knowing that even their population, those of organized labor are just 20 or less percentage compared to the larger Nigerians. So would it make any sense, because they were the ones calling for the priority, irrespective, the larger population of Nigerians seem to be the ones feeling the brunt. So should Labour now be so concerned to be a part of it when they just hold only less than 20% of the population of Nigerians? Should they be requesting for such? To be a part of the
on whose accord are they Nigerian workers? If they were not Nigerian, would there be an industry where you'll be employed before you become a labor head?
But would they not think of their members alone and seek for
sick.
their members
to
be dealt or given this? Just like Delta State government has said that the palliative will go to the workers when a large number of Deltans are unemployed.
What we are saying here is this. I have told you the position of Labour Nigerian Labour Congress. The duties of NLC transcends
Beyond.
the working class. I have told you, it is only platform remaining for Nigerians through which you can engage the government. Because other structures have been crumbled. And Ajaero or whoever that is at the headship of Labour or TUC, they are all Nigerians. They are no pains. Of what benefits will it be to them when this country grinds on your heart? No benefit. And again, you understand that this is all about activism.
Okay.
The government has said when you are elected into such offices, it's not all about what you are going to get from it. You should be able to stand in the gap, be the body bearer, and that's exactly the push. And that is
Labour.
the thinking of Labour and how it should be in a democratic system here.
Okay, I'll plead with you to hold on, Comrade Emeka Onwukocha. We need to go on a break now. But when we come back, we'll continue our discussion as we look at the proposed plan action, industrial action by Labour come tomorrow and next tomorrow. We're talking about Tuesday, the 5th and Wednesday, the 6th of this month. And not just only ending there, but, well, it's just the beginning of what they feel without any engagement from government for them to now embark on an indefinite strike, maybe in a fortnight or 21 days from now. Let's go on a break.